Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome into Accounting with Oscar. This video we're going to continue talking about question 3 of the February-March 2025 Business Studies Paper 1. So welcome in. If you're new to my channel, feel free to like, share and subscribe this video and I'll let you get on to it, right? Let's look at question 3. We'll be looking at TJK. So TJK is a business that manufactures candles. Yeah, Cambridge is up to date. They know what you like. So, I fancy a candle myself every now and then. Thank you, Lilabo. So, TJK manufactures candles. Now, contributing to sustainable development is important to TJK. The business uses batch production in its factory in country X. The target market for TJK's products is females between 20 and 50 years of age. The managing director is reviewing TJK's financial data. An extract is shown in table 3.1. He is also considering the benefits to a business of becoming a multinational company. So that's what we have right here. So manufacturing candles, sustainable development. This has been a very popular topic. It's on the rise ever since 2020. I've seen that in every year, every sitting. There's bound to be one question on sustainable development, whether it's in paper 1 or paper 2, right? So it's an increasing concern on the environment. And it's not really something that you have to memorize, sustainable development. This is logic, how you're going to help with protecting or conserving the environment, our resources. Using batch production, all right, so methods of production, job production, batch production, flow production. Just go through it again if you've forgotten the characteristics and features. So target market between 20 and 50 female, right? That's a market segment. Again, a popular question coming out in recent years. You have to, you can look into market segments as well. I believe it's there somewhere in 2021 and 23. So considering benefits of becoming multinational, right? Straightforward. Again, very repetitive elements, right? Very repetitive. So let's look at table 3.1 here. We have extract from TJK's financial data for 2024. There's working capital, profit and revenue. So starting you off with the first question, part A. Define working capital. There was a similar question, and I'm talking about exactly the same question that came out in 2022. I believe it's the October-November paper 1. It should be variant 2 if I'm not wrong, right? It was there. It's exactly the same question. So this is why I'm telling people that it's impossible to fail business, Even if you want to fail business, you can't, because the questions are all repetitive. If you study the papers, study all the past years, you would see that a lot of questions are repetitive in the way they ask the questions, in the requirements they are asking for, right? It's very repetitive. There's no way you can fail the paper unless you don't study at all. So here we are, define working capital. Now, you can give me a simple explanation. You can tell me that working capital is the short-term financing required by a business to carry out day-to-day operations, right? You can tell me that, you can say that it's the short-term financing you need to carry out day-to-day operations, or right, you can just tell me that working capital is current assets less current liabilities. So either way you would earn 2 marks. If you give me a simple explanation or a simple definition of working capital, you would get 2 marks. Now, if you state the formula to calculate working capital, that would also earn you 2 marks. So either way, you would be able to get your 2 marks. The next question, again, very, very simple. You see, they are giving out 3 marks. Calculate TJK's profit margin. Show your working. Now, I emphasize this a lot. Please show whatever working you've done, because if your final answer is wrong, but your working is correct, you would still earn 1 mark, right? Perhaps if they are lenient, you might get a mark for own figure. Well, that depends on the examiner and the marker, right? But at least you show them how you derive the answer. So for me, I'm going to tell them what's my formula for profit margin. Very simple. How much of profit I earn per dollar of revenue. That's going to be $400 divided by 1,000 multiplied by 100%. You can do a fraction, that's fine, right? I just do equations, but you want to do a fraction, go ahead. So your final answer should be 40%, right? That is your profit margin, 40%. Don't forget the percentage. So you earn 1 mark here for your working and another mark for your final answer. So make sure to show your workings. So shall we move on to part C of the question? Alright, part C of the question, identify 4 benefits to a business of becoming a multinational company. Now, I would ask you to take caution when you're reading a question like this, because there was a sitting where the examiner asked the candidate to identify the benefits to the country of having a multinational company. So you need to be very careful, you need to be very meticulous when reading the questions. This is the benefit of becoming a multinational company, right? So you have to be very careful, because there was a sitting where they asked what was the benefit to the country of having a multinational company. So a lot of people misread the question and they just listed down the benefits of becoming a multinational company, and they lost their marks there. So always be meticulous when reading questions. So what do you think? What are the benefits of becoming a multinational company? So the keyword is identify. Go straight to the point, shoot them in the head, right? Straight to the point. My first benefit, I'm going to tell them, increase in market share, right? You're able to increase, or you can use the word expand, able to expand the market share, because you're venturing into a new country. You're going to be getting customers from that country itself. Number 2, you might have access to cheaper labor, right? You might have access to cheaper labor, or access to specialist skills, right? Now, these are two different answers. You talk about cheaper labor, you would get 1 mark. If you park the specialist skills in benefit tree, you would get another mark as well, right? But I'm not doing it because I want to share other ideas with you. See, if I become a multinational company, what happens is I'm able to avoid or I'm able to eliminate foreign currency risk because I'll be dealing with the local country's currency. I don't need to manage all the import and export, and having all that foreign currency risk, all the depreciation in exchange rate. I can avoid all of that. And for number 4, I'm going to eliminate import restrictions. So I'm not going to be selling into that country. I'm going to be selling in that country. So I don't have to keep importing goods. I can straight away operate in that country. So I eliminate import restrictions such as import, tariffs, and quotas. Now, you don't need to give them examples. I'm just telling you, right? Just sharing more with you because you never know. You never know when you're going to need the knowledge. So you're able to eliminate import restrictions such as tariffs and quotas. So these are the 4 benefits. Well, my benefits, okay? You can think of your own answers, and if you want to know whether your answers are right or wrong, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll evaluate them for you. Alright, so with that, let's hop on to the next question. We're going to go to part D of the question here. So part D, they want us to explain 2 ways TJK could contribute to sustainable development. Now, these are really free marks. They are really free marks because we are talking about something logical, something that's being applied, something that's being highlighted daily, right? Protecting our environment, protecting our resources so that the future generations could continue to enjoy them. So, how are you going to do that? How are you going to make sure you can contribute to sustainable development? There are tons of answers to this, and I'm just going to state my point of view. So, TJK could reduce consumption of resources, right? They could reduce consumption of resources. So how are they going to do this? I'm going to explain right here. So TJK could avoid over ordering or probably avoid ordering excessively. Okay, TJK could avoid ordering excessively the raw materials it needs to produce its candles. This would reduce the wastage of resources. So TJK could even recycle its could even recycle waste recycle or repurpose waste to form new materials. Okay, that's what I'm going to tell them. So reduce consumption. That's how you're going to preserve, right? Preserve the resources for future generations. We avoid ordering excessively. Don't order too much, only order what you need. So you reduce the wastage. So I added a point, you can recycle your waste to form new materials, right? You can recycle. If you don't want to talk about waste, you can talk about recycling. It could even recycle imperfect candle wax to form new materials, right? Could even recycle imperfect candle wax to form new materials, right? Because you're making candles, so what you're gonna use is wax. And sometimes when you burn wax, it doesn't go perfectly. It's not gonna be the shape that you want it to be. So perhaps you can recycle, recycle all these imperfect candles, turn them into new wax, new materials to produce more candles. Now, for way two, I'm gonna tell them that TJK could use renewable energy sources, right? That's also a way to contribute to sustainable development. So I can explain here. I'm gonna say that TJK could make use of solar energy, right? Could make use of solar energy to power the machinery in its factory. It could also use electric vehicles. That's also a way to contribute to sustainable development. Now, this has been recognized by Cambridge, so you can include this in, right? So, making use of electric vehicles. So, this methods help to reduce pollution by burning lesser coal or fossils, because you want to use some if you use petrol, you're gonna burn fossils. If you don't use solar energy, most likely you'll be burning coal, right, to power up the factory. So by switching to all these renewable energy sources, what we're doing is we are reducing the pollution level. So with that, we earn 1 mark for each method that we advise them. So the explanation here: avoid ordering excessively, reduce wastage of resources, could even recycle, giving them extra pointers here. Now, all this could earn you a mark each. So, making use of solar energy to power machinery, considering electric vehicles, right? Reduce pollution by burning lesser coals or fossils. That's it. So wonderful, 6 marks there. Now, I know some of you may not be able to think under pressure. It happens, I know. Some days you're in the exam hall, you're working under stress, and ideas just don't come out from your head. But what I would do is I try to go logic. I don't like to stress myself out by memorizing tons of definitions, memorizing things, memorizing terminologies. I don't do that. So What I do is I work my brain on logic. I don't study the night before. I don't study the night. I don't study the day of my exams. I chill, right? I do all my studying earlier, so when the time comes, I relax my mind. I watch my favorite TV shows. Yeah. I mean, that's my way of dealing with things. I know most of you can't do it, but that's me. I'm just that calm of a person. That's it. Right. So let's move on to the last part of question 3, part E. So this is a general question requiring a general answer. There will be no marks for application. Do you think batch production is the best method of production for a business to use? Justify your answer. So, in order to answer this, you have to understand what is batch production and how it works. So, you can do a comparison against job production and flow production. You don't have to, but you actually can, right? So I'm just gonna pour out my answers, perhaps pour out my point of view. My point of view, I'm gonna discuss on a few characteristics of batch production, right? And you can see if you agree with me. So I'm gonna start by saying that purchasing economies can be achieved through bulk discounts. Yeah, I know it sounds odd to start your answer like this, right? But that's perfectly normal. So, purchasing economies can be achieved through bulk discounts when using batch production. This is as opposed, or I don't need to put a full stop, I can just continue on, can be achieved through bulk discounts when using batch production as opposed to job production. So, job production is more of customization, custom made orders. So, a lot of things are fabricated to you, right? So, you don't really get much of economies of scale. But you're talking about batch production, it's like cooking up a batch of meals for a buffet. So, definitely, there will be some bulk discounts achieved there. So, further, quality issues can be quickly identified and rectified, right? That means you resolve the issue. So, quality issues can be quickly identified and rectified before a next batch is produced. Yep, quality issues, you can quickly identify and rectify before you work onto a next batch. So the batch comes out, you see a problem, we fix it before we move on to another batch. The damage is less severe. Less severe compared to flow production. Well, first things, flow production, you're producing in mass, right? Mass production. So if something goes wrong, you gotta fix a whole mass production. That's a lot of work. And for flow production, you go through a series of processes. So you don't really see when something is wrong until the whole process has been done. and you wouldn't really know where the issue happened unless you implement something like quality assurance. So moreover, gonna move on to the third point. Batch production would motivate. All right, moreover, batch production would motivate employees as they can work on a variety of products. Unlike flow production, where employees focus on a single repetitive process. Okay, that's going to be my answer. So purchasing economies can be achieved through bulk discounts when using batch production as opposed to job production. Quality issues can be quickly identified and rectified before a next batch is produced, so it's less severe if I compare it to flow production. Now, batch production motivate employees. They can work on a variety of products, unlike flow production, where you only focus on a single repetitive process. So that's it. Probably I would have earned more than 6 marks here, but I'm just gonna play safe, right? You don't know how many marks you're really gonna earn. It depends on the marker who's marking your question and how they perceive, how they view your answer. So that's it. These are my points and my ideas for question 3 of the February March 25 paper. Thank you all for watching. If you find this helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share this video to a friend who needs help. And I'll see you in the next video where we're going to talk about the final question of the February March 25 paper 1. So I'll see you there.